All right, we're going to start our program in just a moment. Tracy is going to lead us in our prayer, and Jerry's going to lead us in pledge, and Neil and Sasha and Blake Davidson are here to help us with our song today. So it is 12:15, so let me just say welcome to each of you to the Thursday June 4th meeting of your Irving Las Colinas Rotary Club. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we'll begin by asking Tracy Love to lead us in our opening prayer. Tracy? Tracy, we're not hearing you praying.
Okay, well, sorry.
That was just practice. Or maybe I wasn't sure. Maybe if you just preferred praying silently, and so that's okay too.
All right, sorry, I didn't see that unmute button pop up.
You know, we were trying to get your attention and all that stuff, but
okay. Well, allow us to bow our heads again. And
there we go. All right.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and this opportunity to rise and shine and see your beautiful work. We adore you. We lift you up. We thank you that you are a God of grace and a God of mercy. And we thank you for allowing us to be your vessels here in the earth. We ask right now in Jesus' name that you would use us for your glory. Allow us to be your examples. Allow us to be your lights in the earth. And God, we ask that you would continue to teach us how to love and continue to teach us how to be there for one another. We ask that you would bless each and every vessel here that is a part of this Rotary call today. And we ask that you would give us hearts to receive and ears to hear what we need to receive and what we need to hear and what we need to learn during this meeting today. And we ask all of these things in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tracy. Jerry Hicks is going to lead us in the pledge. So the flag's on the screen. Jerry, make sure that your mic is unmuted. And Jordan, if you'll mute all the rest of us so we're not talking over each other. Jerry, go ahead and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Robert, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
There you go. Thank you. All right. So let's go on to our song. Blake, what song are we singing today?
We do the national anthem today.
Wonderful. When you're ready, go ahead.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the runners.
I'm Lynn Slater, and I'm also known as the Accident.
Was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of our brave.
Wonderful. Play ball. I wish we could play some baseball, but not right now. Thank you, Blake and Neil and Sandra. We miss all you guys and look forward to getting together with you again here soon. Well, we have a few guests joining us today, so everybody say hi to Judy Pearson. Judy, we're glad you're there. I told Judy 2 more times and we're going to give her an application for membership, all right? So, and everybody say hi to Jason Lowe from the MacArthur Internet Club, or MacArthur Interact Club, excuse me. So Jason, we're glad you're here today.
Thank you.
Pretty
Nice
handsome
to-
cowboy
nice to
hat
see y'all.
there. Say it again.
I said, thank you. Nice to see all y'all.
We're
Coach
glad-
Scoops that back in the day.
Yeah, pretty handsome there, all right. Nicole Mansell is here with us, joining for our Superintendent Magna Hernandez. So Nicole, we're glad you're with us today. And I'm going around the screen here. Did I miss anybody else that was visiting today? Certainly not a visitor, but someone we haven't seen in a while. Clint Howard, we're glad you're on a Rotary Zoom meeting with us today. Good to see you. All right. Well, let me just remind you, depending on whether you're on a computer or an iPad, but if you're on a computer, you can hold down your space bar while you talk and then release it and you'll go back to mute. But just happy to see everybody. Rick Lindsay just jumped on there. Hello, Mr. Lindsay.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Glad
Thank
you're
you for the welcome.
Yes. Looks like Jim Klein joined us there, I believe.
Yep. How you doing, Robert?
Good. Glad everybody's with us today. We've just started our meeting. Tracy led us in silent prayer and then she led us in out loud prayer. So great job there. And we've had our pledge and song. I wanted to allow just a couple of moments before we go to our speaker. Really, we finished our first Flag Day for Memorial Day. And while we were glad that that started, you know, when you start something up like this every year, there's always a few glitches and you think, all right, we got to fix that, or we need somebody to handle that. I was given a piece of paper just moments ago that says that our paid flag subscriptions is now up to 1,189. We have 634 pending renewals. So if everybody renewals, would be a little bit over 1,800 flags this year. We have received $59,670. And we're still trying to update all of those numbers, but that's a lot of flags to put out. And I had a conversation yesterday with Rick Lindsay about some of the things that needs to happen before Flag Day next week. Rick sent me an 11-page text with everything that needs to happen. No, not really, but.
There are only 5 little things, Mr. President.
I know, but each one of those little things took 2 pages, you know. Pretty detailed, all right?
I believe you, Robert.
So we're needing to coordinate a couple of areas, and Bob and Rick, y'all please feel free to jump in, but we're going to have an assembly day this Saturday. Bill Labar through Mara Gas said it probably would take maybe an hour. But for those of you that like to help assemble flags, Bill Labar will be helping coordinate that at the storage area there at the YMCA. So if you'd like to do that, if you could either reach out to me or reach out to Bill Labar so we could let him know how many people are coming. Then that would indicate whether we'd be able to have all of our flags done. And then we're needing some help with new sleeves for our existing subscribers and also for new subscriptions. So I know I'm going to be helping with new sleeves. Lazar, I know you helped with that a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if you and Cody can help us again. So we need to get some of our new sleeves out. I'd really like to do that before Flag Day, so we're not running around trying to do that. So either Rick or Lindy or Kathy Howard, whoever has the update on some of the new installations, if you can get those to myself, I'll split those up with Lazaro, and Rick and Bob will get back with you and let y'all know which ones have been installed. But then we need some help the day of the event. Rick, are we putting out flags on Thursday of next week or Friday before Flag Day?
You know, Mr. President, I don't know. Kathy, what schedule do you have with Melissa?
I don't know that Kathy Howard's on. I think Clint's here, so
okay.
She may be in the room, but I'm not sure that she's on. So
yeah, I can look at the schedule and tell you, but I'm guessing it's probably Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. The troops kind of vary depending on what their availability is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we're going to need to get flags out, and I specifically had a request to coordinate with Richard Raymond for Millennium Fountain and the Irving Convention Center. So I think Richard, if you'd like to help with that location, if you would reach out to Richard or reach out to me. But our program is growing, and especially in lack of the golf tournament that hasn't really happened the last few years, this is really our primary fundraiser. But we need to get these other 600 flags renewed. I'm kind of glad we don't have 1,800 flags at the moment, because we would probably be all running around the tree, but we need to do that. So hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll get those other flags renewed and be ready to go. Rick, do you have anything else you need to say to the club regarding flags? And when Rick finishes, Bob Bourgeois, I'll give you an opportunity to comment as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, your number is a good number. I would ask you to add the fountain and the convention center. So that's about 130 flags. So add that to that number you had. And that kind of talks about the quantity of flags we have, which goes back to Bill and Jim Klein and that team of building. The other thing is the flag sponsorship for Millennium Fountain. All of those that have not been sold, you can go out on the website and look at the state's sponsorships still available. So that's a good $5,000, $100 times 50 flag. That's a good way for us to make pure profit. And so if you have not contacted Linda or Lindy to get that on your statement for Rotary, or if you want to pay online with a credit card or whatever, go out and do that. And also help us sell the other 50 or the remaining states. That's a good program. So I think the support there is still from the city. The mayor mentioned the fountain area in his couple of his posts. So that's a good thing when they had their event at the memorial for veterans. So that's a couple of the things that we're doing. Would ask each Rotarian in your neighborhood, if you notice that people do not have a flag. I talked to Bob this morning, and there are 4 flag days remaining. So if they want to sign up for $40 for the remaining, let's make that happen. And your house has a flag. There's already a route established, so it's a quick, easy sale if we can get more people up and down the areas where we all live. So walk your block, try to get your neighbors to buy flags.
Patty Caperton had her hand up. Patty, did you have a question for Rick or just a comment?
Well, it was for Rick. I'm confused. I thought you told me we were only doing American flags around the fountain. So that's why I haven't sponsored one.
Yes, we went back to the format that we started with, which is U.S. flags with a card that says the state of, for you, it was what? I forgot. But anyway, for me,
Utah. I took Utah for a friend.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it would just be a 3x5 card that says, for me, it was Arizona, in honor of the USS Arizona and my brother. I have the state of Arizona. So we went back to the U.S. flags.
Okay.
The state flags didn't give the same look. We still have those, but you would be sponsoring a state, but your card would be on a U.S. flag.
Oh, got it. I see now what you're saying. Got it.
That's the way we
Misunderstood.
started the program, and then we went to the state flags, but a lot of the flags have a dark blue background with a buffalo or a snake or something. They're not as impressive as that fountain having, in my opinion, having 60 U.S. flags. It gives it a real Washington, D.C., real patriotic look. But anyway, I know Richard wanted Nebraska to be out there. That answered, that helped?
Yes, thank you very much for that clarification.
You bet. Mr. President, one other thing. Last week, I neglected to give recognition and thank you to Richard Raymond and his wife, Elaine. She owns the big red Dodge truck we use to haul all of our flags around. And Richard jumps in there and helps place, pull, and whatever. So a big Rotary thank you. Yeah, Laz, give him a round of applause because he works hard. And he came up with a great idea on those flags at Millennium. We're hoping his new metal detector will sense and find the sleeves because he put a 2-inch piece of metal tape, thin metal tape. We're hoping we can just wand those things and find those sleeves and speed this process as the summer grass hides the sleeves. Anyway, Mr. President, I took too long. Thank you. Great program. Thank you for your leadership. It's moving forward.
Excellent. Bob Bourgeois, you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I know we're moving up against Marilyn's time here, so I'll be quick. Yes, Millennium Fountain. We could use some help with the sales effort and the follow-up. You can go online and go to Irving.com, and you can see what the dedications were for each year before. The idea is that we will archive each year so you can go back and see who sponsored what state each year. And I only 3 or 4 states taken so far this year. So we have a long way to go to sell out Millennium Fountain. We've been focusing on the other areas. And the other thing that crossed my mind when Rick was speaking was this year we're doing the convention center for no money because the convention center for the last 2 years has been a huge sponsor of ours. They were the ones that gave us the beachhead in Las Colinas, and we had a lot of people talking to us about doing flags before this coronavirus happened. Toyota Music Factory was going to do some. I think we would have gotten the hotel across the street. So unfortunately, timing is not on our side this year, but we're going to go ahead and do the flags at the convention center. So we, the club, have to do that ourselves so we don't have a cost to put them out with the Boy Scouts.
We can make sure we make that happen. So thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Quick question, Richard, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I am. Does anybody has a metal detector or one of them things for treasure or anything, an old one that would work a lot better than the little wand I got. The ones you could put in your ear and everything, and you can go through and find jewelry and everything. If anybody's got anything like that, and that'd be a lot better than what I have.
Laz is smiling. That means he's got one. Yeah. I'll go. Yeah, you do. Go ahead. Talk up.
I don't have one, but I'm sure I could stop by like a pawn shop and see if I can find one.
All right. We're going to delegate that to Laz, and he'll get that taken care of.
All right.
So, and if he walks around and kind of is testing your pockets, he'll know that you have change in your pocket. So
I'll bring it to Rotary.
there you go. Well, thank you for just a couple of moments giving us on the flag program. Let me just give a shout out to Robert Nelson, who's joining us. Bob, good to see you. And I called out Lourdes a moment ago. I'm trying to see who else has joined us. Doreen's with us. Who else jumped on here in the last couple of minutes? We have 26 people on Rotary so far this morning, so glad to see everybody there. Chris Dobson, you were going to introduce our program, and so go ahead. Unmute your mic.
Okay. Can you hear me?
You can. Go ahead.
All right. When I took over as the library director in 2012, Marilyn was president of the Friends. And before that, before she took over, the Friends had a book sale once a year, and they were a very sleepy organization. And I remember going to a conference where one of the topics was what to do with your friends, because I thought they could be doing so much more than they're doing. And it turns out they were actually doing more than most Friends groups, because they were able to put on a book sale. But in about 2 years, Marilyn transformed the organization. They now do so much more than just have their book sale. That's a very important fundraiser for them. They're involved in other ways of raising funds. They give away books that they can't sell to worthy organizations. And they're actually involved in the planning of so many things like the North Texas Teen Book Festival. So I really think that, I realize that Marilyn is not president of the Friends anymore, and they have managed to keep on going, but I think that her leadership has really transformed the organization. And so I want to commend her for that and turn over the program to her.
Thank you, Chris. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Rotary Club, for having me back again this year. I had such a wonderful time last year in explaining to you the value of the North Texas Teen Book Fest and how well that put Irving on the map. That this year, I know as a result of that, many of you volunteered to help with the Teen Fest that occurred this past March 6th. We were so lucky to get that under the radar, so to speak, before the shelter in place happened. And you probably would like to know that we had over 13,000 young adults in attendance for the Teen Fest this past year, which I think is amazing considering the circumstances as they were at that time. But the future of the one coming up for this next year, even though a date has been set, of course, is still a little bit uncertain. But this year, I want to take you back, if Jordan will allow me to share. I want to take back your thinking just a little bit in terms of how you view a library. A library is ever so much more than just books. And I want to take you beyond the books and show you the value of the library as it relates to a community resource, and also how the Friends of the Irving Library really branch out and focus on ways that we can keep our library as a valuable community resource. Jordan, are you able to give me the share button? I don't know what to do to make that happen. Oh, here we are. I'm sorry, it's probably my fault. So we'll get to this, just a moment. Can you see it? Everybody?
We can. Yes, it came up right now.
That's very good. Well, we started at the last. Why don't we start at the first? That would be better. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about books and beyond. So just as a matter of curiosity, when you leave here, I hope you're excited enough to go by and visit one of our libraries, or else visit it online and realize the contributions that are made to making our library this resource. An interesting little fun fact that I wanted to start with: in 2019, the Gallup poll said more Americans visited a public library than went to the movies. I wanted you to let that soak in for just a minute. And in looking at the figures, I noticed that if we added went to the movies and sporting events, that visits to a library would almost exactly equal that number. How do you like that? I think that was very interesting. But I want to bring it back to just exactly how the citizens of Irving view a public library. For example, last year we had 716,000 visits to one of our 4 public libraries that we have in the city of Irving. In addition to that, the number of visits, of course, does not include the number of digital views and digital checkouts, but we had 1,231,000 checkouts from the library, including all of the various digital products that we offer as well. Most of these things you're probably familiar with, but just to mention a few of the checkouts you might not be as familiar with, you can actually go to the library website and look up various magazines, articles in magazines. You can also download and read a whole variety of newspapers. I get the New York Times and some of their summaries every day in my email, which is pretty nice. And the third thing that we are prepared to offer, had to be held back because of the shelter in place and the closing of the libraries, is we have, if you'll see down in your far corner, a new product that the Friends actually got the funding from the Share Tank program called Little Steamers Backpacks, focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math and art projects. They are the cutest little clear plastic backpacks designed for children with a logo. We have 14 subjects that involve around science, technology, engineering, and math that are developed, that are ready to go on the shelves to be checked out. And they each contain either 2 or 3 books, a couple of DVDs, usually either an art project or a math project. And those are to be explored at home so that the entire family can get involved. Much of the instructions, etc., are both in English and in Spanish. So we're very proud of that as being one of our new offerings. And now that the library is open, those are available for checkout. The other thing, you need to read quickly, but there's just a few services I don't feel like our community is as aware of as they could be. But one of our more popular, most used, and the thing that has had to be expanded in all of our libraries has been the use of computers. Because as we know, there is a certain population of Irving that does not have their own computers. We have the computers available for them, printing available for them, and free Wi-Fi. Even if you have a problem with your own, well, you know where to go. Instead of Starbucks, you can just pop in any one of our 4 libraries and take advantage of free Wi-Fi. We have tech support. And another thing that has kind of been overlooked, and that is your ability to reserve a meeting room so that you, 2 or 3 other people can get together. You're working on a project, you want a nice quiet place to spread out on a table in a private room and work on that. I know Kay Hickox and I did that frequently when we were working on our Share Tank presentation. Makes it very, very convenient. A new word probably for some of you is maker spaces in the libraries where people can go and actually make projects. And I want to use one example, and I think you can see me in the corner of your screen. The teens had a product that they wanted to sell at the North Texas Teen Book Fest in the swag shops called little squishies that they put on their ponytails or whatever. Could not find them at an affordable price. They figured it out. The library has sewing machines. They made hundreds of these and was a very popular sale. So there's other ways that we can expand, and that's one of the things that the library will be expanding is various maker spaces. Another interesting little fun fact in terms of in terms of programs, we had 85,000 plus people attend library programs this past year at no cost to them. 85,000 people. And you can see in the essence of time, you can see on your screen the variety of things that I'm talking about. There's all sorts of gardening classes, cooking classes. I know recently on the schedule, they had an ethnic cooking class that was a virtual class, and they're doing many. If you look on the calendar every week, there's more and more classes that are being offered virtually due to the fact that few people can get out and go to the library as it is at this moment. We have several programs that the Friends has particularly sponsored. One of them you can see in the corner of your screen called Programming Your Future, which was teaching any ages from between 4 and 7 years old the basics of coding and programming computers. Those classes were so popular, we had to double the number of tools that it took to conduct those classes, and they are still ongoing even after 2 years, as popular as ever. Another one you may think, what is that? Family Yoga Story Time has been another extremely popular program, which unfortunately was not able to be rolled out until January, late February. And those classes have exceeded our average attendance expectation. Another value that the Friends brought to the library as a result of our share tank programs that we have each year. And these, of course, cost nothing. Kind of how it works. Let's face it, we know well that we all have budget constraints, that the city of Irving will have additional budget constraints. But back in November, the library was responding to some of the needs of our community in different areas and presented the Friends of the Library with at least 4 components that they believe to be extremely important for the community. Every year we've had a summer reading challenge. It includes paying for numerous speakers, people from the Perot Museum regarding science and science projects. This year it will be an almost exclusively virtual program, but it will continue. The other one that I think is amazing is they realized the need for the East Branch Library to be converted to what we call East Branch Learning Center. And to make you a little bit more aware, East Branch is actually housed in the same building as Irving Cares. That should give you a sense of the type of community where our East Branch is located. What we mean by converting it to a learning center, there's certain focuses. For example, they will focus very heavily on both adult and early childhood literacy. They will focus on workforce readiness. They will focus on digital literacy and change a lot of the collection content to support these families in those areas of literacy so that they are better prepared to be working citizens in Irving and better students as they start their school years. On the other side of town, we realize that the focus for most of the visitors to the Valley Ranch Library are extremely interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have agreed to increase the collection at the Valley Ranch Library to focus a great deal on those particular subjects. We also paid for staff education and training by attending the National Public Library Association meeting, which was in Nashville this year. 5 of our librarians attended, and that's where you get those shots in the arm of new ideas and things that can benefit our community. And I want to tell you, I know for a fact from working with the various librarians across the city to develop the projects that we help in the funding, we have the most creative staff. I shudder to think if some of the ongoing programs that our library provides for the community could possibly be cut by some of the budget constraints that we know are inevitable. I want to give you just a few ideas of how the Friends make the money to support the library. We've been hampered as well. We haven't been able to have the book sales that we normally have. Normally, as a benefit to membership in the Friends, we offer what we call a first Wednesday book sale. Mike, I think, is in the audience. I know he's there just about every Wednesday, loading up on a few books, and probably several others of you as well. Patty, I know that you're a good volunteer to put that in place, but the people work on Wednesdays to get the donations that we've received on the shelves. And we thought one day, well, why not just open it up to our members and give them a benefit of first choice on the newly donated books? And honestly, that has started averaging within a 2-hour period about $600 a month. And when you're selling books for 25 cents, 50 cents, no more than $1, think about the impact that that makes. Many of the people who come are homeschool teachers. Many people come because they are boxing books to send to our military that is overseas, or even to certain charities that their church sponsors. So they're all going for very, very good causes. We also have an annual book sale every year, which of course this year we've had to postpone, and we are scheduled tentatively to have our annual book sale on starting on Wednesday, July the 14th. You can keep up with that by following us on Facebook or on the Friends of the Library website. It will give you any updates that might become necessary for our annual book sale. But one of the book sales that probably is one of my favorites is what we call our Teachers Book Sale, which we have right before the teachers are allowed to get into their classrooms in late August and get them fixed up and prepared for the students to come. We offer a special sale for those teachers to reward them in ways that financially benefit them. Whether you know it or not, most of our teachers have to fund these things for their classroom out of their own pocket. I'm afraid their pockets are going to be pretty slim this year. So we're concerned about that. And frankly, I want to share with you an opportunity that you as individuals or you as a Rotary Club and all of your friends can participate in. But we have a program called Book Bucks. And these book bucks are sometimes purchased to give to people as a reward for certain things that they have done or that they have earned through the library. But we're going to make those book bucks available for anyone to purchase through our website. It's very simple. You simply click on the website, Friends of Irving Library, click the donate button, put in your notation, teachers, and all of that money will purchase book bucks for our teachers. We even have a donor who is willing to match all of the contributions that we get up to $1,000. And in judging the number of teachers that we typically have come to these sales, we can almost guarantee that every teacher that comes will have a minimum of $20 in book bucks. This serves a twofold purpose. One, it offsets some costs for the teachers. Second, the money goes to the Friends, which then in turn, of course, goes to pay for programs at the library. I want to quickly say, we have no paid employees. Everything we do, accounting, taxes, everything we do is done by volunteers. So we're very fortunate to be able to contribute everything that the Friends earn towards things that benefit our entire community. Memberships is another thing we need to increase. We have memberships in the Heritage Society and the new museum that we have, and our memberships are very minimal, starting at $20 a year on up. You can go on the website again and enroll and buy a membership if you do not already have one. You'll see the choices there. Our fundraising would be in another way of making money for the library. At the moment, there's nothing other than our book buck program that we have going on, because we had to make it something that really did not require attendance. Okay, so here we are. So to wrap up, We'd love for you to be a friend. Join the friends. Attend our book sales.
Marilyn, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
I think I'll just repeat that one. I just noticed that. Thank you. Yes, we want all of you to be a friend to the friends. Join the friends if you don't already have a membership. It's nominal, starting at $20 on up, depending on the level. And attend our book sales. If nothing else, just to see what beautiful things we offer at our warehouse location at 3000 Rock Island Road. We post all of our book sales, both on Facebook, on Nextdoor, on our website. But go out and explore some new adventures that hopefully I've made you acquainted with today in our presentation. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn. Great program. Glad you were able to bring us up to speed of everything that's going on with the Friends of the Irving Library. We have a couple of minutes before I've got a couple of announcements at the end, but if you have questions for Marilyn, I see Don Jensen's got a hand up there. Unmute yourself, Don.
I just wanted to get in a quick thing. Robert, could you and I and if Jason would be available and Jordan speak after the meeting?
All right, we'll talk about that. Anybody else have a question for Marilyn? David Harris has a question. David, unmute yourself there. Jordan, would you unmute David?
Marilyn, if we have books at home and we want to give them to the library, is there a process to do that?
Yes, can you hear me, David?
Yes.
Yes, you can either take them to any of the 4 branch libraries, or you can, better yet, come to the warehouse, which is at 3000 Rock Island Road, on a Wednesday. The workers are there between 1 and 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. We would be delighted to have good books. And by the way, I might mention something quickly, and that is we get, if a book, for example, has marks in it, maybe you just didn't realize it did, or has a missing page or something, we even have a program with a recycler where we get money for those books that have to be recycled. We don't let anything go without making us money if we can keep from it.
Wonderful. Anybody else have a question for Marilyn? Well, let's thank Marilyn again for today's program. Marilyn, stay on for just a few minutes if you can. There may be more questions at the end. I wanted to give Rick Lindsay a moment to jump back on and give the entire club a book update. So, Rick, are you there?
Mr. President, thank you very much. Marilyn, I was there and helped you the last 2 years. That's a great event, the festival and the children, and hearing the ones say, oh yeah, I want to be a writer, and watching them walk around with all the books. So thank you for that effort and keeping us busy. Well, Mr. President, yesterday I received a note from Chief Spivey, and as you know, he is our chairperson of our reading program at Thomas Haley Elementary School. And Miss Rebecca Newman, the librarian there, had contacted the chief and said, hey, we've got those books left over from when you were going to come read to us on Wednesday, June the 10th. They're going to have a special pop-up library and invite the children to come get some books and take home for the summer. So Rebecca's request was that the Rotary Club would authorize them to hand the books out and go ahead and distribute those to the children. And so thank you, Mr. President, for your approval. Chief gave them that feedback. And so Marilyn, we're supporting young readers at an early age, probably I forgot, all the 3rd or 4th graders. Don, you probably know that detail, but yeah, we'll be handing out lots of books here next week through Rotary Read program. So, Mr. President, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, for updating us on that. And as you know, typically there would be 20 or 30 Rotarians reading to kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade classes. And then we give them the books 3 times a year. And so unfortunately, we weren't able to do the reading we had scheduled for April, but we're going to get the kids the books to take home and read for the summer anyway. So thank you, Rick, and thank you, Chief Spivey, for helping us be able to get those books in the hands of the kids. And for those of you that missed reading, we'll have that on the calendar in the fall, hopefully, and be able to do that again. I want my son Jordan to jump on and give the club a quick social media update. And specifically, Rick, you and Bob that are so actively involved with our flag program, you're going to love one little statistic he's going to give you. So Jordan, give us a quick social media update.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys taking the call to action last week to heart. The followers on Twitter and Facebook are consistently growing. LinkedIn is behind, but we are making a push for that. But we had a post from our first flag groupings that went out that had 2,500 engagements, and so that's because of what you guys are doing. So just continue that great work.
Thank you, Jordan. So 2,500 views, many of you seeing it or sharing it with other people about the Flags Over Irving program. And Jordan is going to take the information about our Millennium Fountain flags that haven't sold, and he's going to put that on Facebook and push them to that Flags Over Irving program, see if we can get those remaining flags sold. Now, if some of you have purchased a flag or sponsored a flag in the past and you maybe forgot to do that this year, then you can reach out to me or to Rick or to Lindy so we can get it on your bill, but we'll get that flag out with whatever state sponsor that you want. But the intent is to have all 50 flags sponsored. That's $5,000 that comes into the club that we don't have to pay any expenses on, but we can turn around and use it to support the various programs in the community. So if you have done that in the past and haven't this year, still a chance to do that. Let us know and we'll make that happen. Well, thank you again to everyone. It's just a few minutes after 1, but thanks for staying with us. We're going to conclude with Mike Kunstadt doing the 4-way test. So just once again, the way this works, Jordan's going to mute everybody's mics. And so then Mike Kunstadt, I need you to wait just a moment. Once he gets them all muted, then you will unmute your mic and lead us in the 4-way test. So Jordan, go ahead and do that. And then Mike, unmute your mic before you lead us. Go ahead, Mike.
In the 4-way test, the things we think, say, and do. First,
it is a truth.
Second, is it fair to all?
It's fair to all concerned.
Third, will it build good?
Will it be good and better friendship?
And fourth, will it be beneficial?
Beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, Mike, for leading us in the 4-way test. Thank you to all of you Rotarians that joined us today. Just want to remind all of you that our meetings are being recorded. They're going on our website. They're going on Facebook, and Irving Las Colinas Rotary Club has a YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to that YouTube channel, we need 100 subscribers, and then we'll be able to actually air our meetings live on YouTube instead of just recorded. So go to YouTube. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. You just hit the subscribe button. Just means you're subscribing to our page. We get 100 people do that. And when we do go back to meeting, we can live stream our club meetings on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. All right. So thank you to each of you. This meeting's officially adjourned.